Kazakhstan is a vast country, the size of Western Europe, blessed with natural resources, including oil, gas, uranium and coal. At a crossroads between East and West, the country is strategically developing these assets.
When the vast, unexploited spaces of Central Asia were the target of British and Russian imperial design in the 19th century, the competition was nicknamed the Great Game. Today, in what's been dubbed the New Great Game, rivals for access to the region's energy reserves stretch around the world. But locals, like resource-rich Kazakhstan, are no longer spectators but confident team players.
Kazakhstan will play a major role to establish a relationship with China, with our neighbor Russia. We want to attract investment from the United States, from the European community, and we want to be closer now with our Central Asian neighbors.
It's a confidence which has grown through nearly 20 years of independence, and Kazakhstan's position sitting on huge deposits of oil, gas, coal, and metals such as uranium and copper. The Kashagan oil field is due to come on stream in 2012 with up to 50 billion barrels. The potential of the country's deposits is far from its peak.
It certainly has the potential to be a Kuwait in terms of production volumes within the next 10 years or so.
Production is expected to at least double based on fields found so far to 3 million barrels of oil per day over the next 5 to 10 years, and increase with new discoveries. Transporting oil and gas via a crisscross of pipelines from fields in the far west of the country has lessened its dependence on historical ally Russia.
In 1991, when it gained its independence, it was entirely dependent on export routes through Russia. We've seen it develop export routes westwards, both through Russia and independent of Russia. More recently, we've seen it developing export routes eastwards to China, with which it shares a long land border.
Those new export routes east include a recently agreed joint venture between China and Kazakhstan to build and finance a new gas pipeline, which will carry 10 billion cubic metres. And deals were also signed to double the capacity of China's oil pipeline from Kazakhstan to 400,000 barrels per day by 2013, and for Kazakhstan to supply uranium.
We have supplier Kazakhstan and consumers China, and we have a pipeline which is not going through any other transit state. So that is a unique, I think it will be a whole new era in the relations between Kazakhstan and China in the years ahead.
And China's involvement in the economy will likely grow.
At the minute, China's sort of definitely just really focused on the oil and the mineral sector. However, in the future, I imagine that its investment in the Kazakh economy will increase into other sectors such as infrastructure and agriculture.
Meanwhile, Kazakhstan's confidence is leading it to push for more involvement in its hydrocarbon industries. It's looking at contracts from the early days.
The government believes that the production sharing agreements it signed with the international oil companies in the early 1990s were unfair and undesirable because oil prices have risen considerably since then.
Kazakhstan is in a position to demand more from its oil and gas resources, and certainly in the case of new projects, to get more.
With no likelihood that demand for its hydrocarbons and minerals will wane in today's energy-hungry world, Kazakhstan finds itself in an increasingly powerful position globally and with the revenue stream necessary for its next phase of development.